3 minutes ago, the Chinese National Space Administration detonated the calm illusion that NASA had been building for over a year. Without warning, without ceremony, China released a set of images of the interstellar object known as 3I/ATLAS. Images so sharp, so detailed, so impossibly revealing that they instantly tore through every carefully constructed public explanation NASA had offered. And in the first instant those images hit the global feed, something became immediately obvious. NASA hadn't just been cautious, they hadn't just been conservative. They had been hiding something so monumental that China's sudden disclosure now threatens to rewrite humanity's understanding of our place in the universe. The first image looked innocent enough, just a close-up of ATLAS's mottled icy crust. But the longer you stared, the harder it became to accept what you were seeing. Beneath the speckled shadows and fractured ridges, there was pattern. Not naturally repeating mineral veins or cracks formed from thermal stress, but alignment. Right angles, clean geometric corridors of density that no comet should ever display. China's caption was only 2 words long, "Not natural." And across social media, scientists who had spent their lives defending NASA's cautious approach fell silent. They knew exactly what they were looking at, even if they couldn't admit it yet. The second image was worse. A radar slice that peeled back nearly 70 meters of crust to reveal a network of interlaced ribs. Solid, evenly spaced, metallic-looking struts forming a lattice that wrapped around the interior of the object. No comet scholars anywhere on Earth had ever seen anything remotely like it. China's scanners, which were far more advanced than many believed, had caught Atlas in a moment when its rotation slowed just enough to give them a clean, directional scan. And what they detected shouldn't have been inside a rock. It should have been inside a vessel. Before NASA could respond, anonymous engineers inside the Jet Propulsion Laboratory began leaking messages, screenshots of frantic internal chats showing supervisors urging staff to avoid public comment, delete prior Atlas threads, and prepare for coordinated media containment. One leaked message was only 6 words long, but those 6 words sent shockwaves through every scientific community on the planet. China has the images we buried. The question was no longer whether NASA concealed the truth. The question was why. The third Chinese image provided the answer. Atlas wasn't just emitting heat from solar radiation, it was pulsing. Every 11 minutes, it released a synchronized narrowband thermal signature from a point near its equator, something NASA had labeled random sublimation pockets in earlier public statements. But in the Chinese presentation, those pulses were shown overlaid with time-stamped telemetry. The pulses formed a repeating frequency, structured, modulated, consistent. It was a signal, and NASA had known. As the world scrambled to interpret the images, China released a fourth, a color-enhanced trinary composite showing the illuminated side of Atlas with unmatched clarity. Across one region, previously dismissed as a shadowed depression, China revealed an engraving-like series of grooves forming shapes no one expected, symbols. Symbols that, once magnified, bore uncanny resemblance to Proto-Sumerian iconography. Sharp wedges, crescent-like curves, arrangements that echoed tablets found in ancient Mesopotamia, symbols referenced in myths connected to the Anunnaki, the same line of story researchers tied to the supposed tomb beneath the Iraqi sands discovered months earlier. It didn't matter whether those myths were real or imagined. What mattered was that the shapes on ATLAS weren't geological. Within minutes, a second leak from NASA surfaced, an internal memo marked Level 5 Restricted. The memo acknowledged receiving surface irregularity data indicating non-random morphological alignment nearly 10 months ago. It instructed team members to suppress visual anomalies in all public releases until further notice, citing international stability concerns. The memo even referenced potential cultural contamination, a phrase that instantly raised questions. Contamination of whom? And with what? China wasn't finished. They released a 5th image, this time a spectral material analysis. It revealed that Atlas contained metallic hydrogen, not in scattered pockets but structured into a framework. Metallic hydrogen, stable and in engineered formation, implied one thing: technology. Something intentional, something impossible to produce naturally in the cold emptiness between stars. And while NASA had hinted vaguely at interesting compositional properties during their occasional press briefings, they had never mentioned this. The omission was now unforgivable. Around the world, universities scrambled. Live streams exploded. Forums shut down under traffic loads. Theories flew like wildfire, none of them able to outpace the rising realization that we were witnessing the exposure of something far older, far more engineered, and far more significant than the human race had ever prepared for. And then, China delivered the 6th image, the one that broke everything. This image was a motion-stabilized capture from their Haigong 2 deep space array, showing Atlas emitting more than heat pulses. It was emitting directed bursts of radio energy. They traveled in a narrow beam, sweeping across space like a lighthouse signal. But the beam wasn't random, it was aiming, and the data clearly showed what it was aiming at: Earth, specifically Earth's orbital region. And then the unthinkable line in the official Chinese statement appeared. Signal is repeating, pattern consistent with intentional transmission. NASA's silence became unbearable. Social